we are asked to be, if you select a journal for publication and check their website, they will be written it is to be indexed in PubMed. It was indexed with PubMed. You have to check the wordings. That means these are not indexed at present, or they will be written as it is PubMed indexed till 2017 or till 2018. That means they are not out now. They are not PubMed. So how to check? You have to go to the indexing databases website, go to Scopus, check. There is a search option is there. Check for title. You can log in. You can create your ID and log in, or you can search there. Search for the author name. Search for the journal title. Then, if that journal is present there, then we can clearly believe that that journal is Scopus index or PubMed index. Search in PubMed, PubMed index. So these are the trustworthy indexes you can rely on. First one is of Web of Science. That means Science Citation Index SCI, and SCIE is there. That means Science Citation Index Expanded and Social Science Citation Index. These two are also because Web of Science holds some more databases. These are the common related to the science or health sciences. And Scopus it is written for basic science journal is Web of Science is better, and field of research including medicine, Scopus is a reliable database. If a journal is indexed in Scopus, you can blindly apply to it because it is a trustworthy one. Okay, Scopus is owned by Elsevier. Again, there will be some misleading. They will be telling, site will be telling it is indexed with Elsevier. That doesn't mean to anything. That doesn't give any meaning because it has to be indexing database is Scopus. It was owned by Elsevier. Elsevier is owning as other databases also, Embase, like that other database also. Another important area you can search is Elsevier Journal Finder is there. They are giving a search engine. There also you can go for journals indexed in the Elsevier, not in the Scopus. Scopus you have to say check for the Scopus site itself. Okay, so if a journal you got, you have to check into the respective site, either PubMed index or Scopus. Okay, these I'm telling this PubMed search itself is a session. You need a hands-off training session is a need. You can check for, there are a lot of videos and literature available how to do a PubMed search, because PubMed search is a bit tricky because PubMed hold some PubMed is a PubMed and PubMed Central. There is some difference between PubMed and PubMed Central. In PubMed you will get abstracts only. In PubMed Central you will get the full paper. PubMed Central is a bit wider database. Both will lead to Medline database. Medline database is the these two, PubMed and PubMed Central, is a search engine for the Medline database. Okay, so PubMed is reliable, Scopus is all reliable, Web of Science. So these three has to link. In the searching PubMed, there are so many Boolean operators you can use. If you say Ayurveda and capital letters and Panchakarma and in square bracket title, that will lead to you where that title that contains both Ayurveda and Panchakarma. If you write plain Ayurveda and bracket in square bracket title, it will check for the titles with Ayurveda. If you put Ayurveda and Panchakarma, it will look into that titles where there must be Ayurveda and Panchakarma must be there. So there are minor tips like searching. Another important tip is MESH, MECH, MESH. M small e and capital SNH. That means medical subject heading. MESH terminology is needed to search in PubMed or Medline database because it is for Medline database. Why it is no? See, if you search autism in PubMed, it will not give full results of autism because medical subject heading for autism in Medline database is autistic disorder. So you have to search MESH term. When you open the PubMed, you will be seeing a search button. On the left side it will written PMC. There will be arrow mark, down arrow mark. You click it, you can see lot of option. In that you have to select MESH and write any. If you select Ayurveda, it may showing traditional medicine, Hindu medicine. So you must where it is useful. Another useful if you selecting keywords, you can get different keywords by using MESH terms. Like if you're using autism, you can use autistic disorder. And if you're using Ayurveda, you can use traditional Indian medicine. If you're insomnia, sleep disorder. So MESH terminology will be different. So they will give you a list of MESH terminology. So that can all be adopted as a keywords. Okay. So it takes so long, so many time to explain that. So I put it for you to go and search, and if any query you can come back to me after this class also. Okay, fine. And the last sentence you can read it. See, many of journals will be writing that it is indexed in Google Scholar. See, Google Scholar is not an indexing database, it is a search engine actually. Okay, it's a search engine related to the science articles. So what is the problem with Google Scholar? If you search a term, it will show lakhs of results because it will search entire thing in the online. Sometimes that online thing they remove, it is goes. But in case of PubMed and Scopus, once it is there, you can retrieve it from there. Even if you publish, one can retrace that to that database. So don't rely on Google. If anyone is telling indexed in Google Scholar, that doesn't mean to anything authenticity. Okay, you knew that one guarantee authenticity is Science Citation Index in the Web of Science and Scopus PubMed. I rely on Scopus and PubMed because Scopus it's a bit difficult to get published. PubMed is bit easy, little more easy. So you can check for these both. Okay, I think it's clear. Next, coming to the UGC. See, earlier it was our most of the Ayurveda doctors' intention or Ayurveda scholars or researchers' intention was to just get published in any journal. The scenario has changed now. Now the UGC, University Grants Commission, has decided to some check on the journals, and they have created a list called as UGC Care List. So this list has been as a reference list for quality journals. In interviews, now they are stressing that you must have a publication in the UGC Care List. So this also a checking for a quality journals. This an issue with this is if you may have seen a PDF of UGC Care List. Okay. Earlier it was thought that once it is in UGC Care List, you can check that PDF and decide. But now it's cautious because they are updating their journal list, and some are going out, some are going in. So you have to check at present that journal is present in the UGC Care List. Journal may be claiming they are in the UGC Care List, but you have to go to the website of UGC Care, log in using your Google ID, or you can create a ID, log in, then check that concerned journal is there in the list. Then you can guarantee that it is in the UGC Care List. There are two categories. Category one is the list made by the UGC experts. They have put up a consortium, and they have come up with some guidelines, and they have screened the journal that comes under UGC Care Group 1. And Care Group 2 is, earlier I told, widely accepted databases. UGC is accepting that publication that is accepted by all, that is Scopus, Web of Science, the Scopus and Web of Science. So these two are the databases that UGC is accepting. So earlier I told these are reliable sources, and again I am adding one more, UGC Care List. So if you are going to selecting a journal, you have to look into these databases and UGC Care List. If your selected journal is in this list, you can guarantee authenticity. Okay, then comes owner, publisher, and editor. Question may arise whether we have to look into a owner, editor, or publisher. The answer is yes, you have to look into, because a good publication will be owned by a reputed institution or a reputed publisher. So you have to check whether it is they are reputed firms. And editor in chief, you have to check. There are incidents when we check the editor in chief's author name in the PubMed or Scopus, it will deliver 0 results. That means editor in chief has no publications. So that itself shows some question mark on authenticity. So you can check the profile of editor in chief. And many journals claim that international in its scope. It is an international journal, but you have to check whether editorial board have any international character. Then only it can be called as international. See, in publication, national, international has not that meaning actually. You have to check these databases, whether it is indexed in databases. It's okay. There is nothing as international, national. They have not much value actually. Value is given for these databases. Okay. There are few globally. Some of the list of reputed publishers: Elsevier, Oxford University Press, Nature Publishing House, Biomed Central, Sage, Springer. You will come across these publications names because why they are reputed? Because they do not normally compromise with the ethics. That is the issue. So that is their merit actually. And some journals have a single owner, owner, publisher, editor will be a single personality, and he will be owning multiple journals. Then also you have to put a suspicion. Okay. And is a journal a member of Committee of Publication Ethics, International Committee of Medical Journal Editors, World Association of Medical Editors? This we will be detailing in the publication ethics because we need some detailing. So if a journal is a member of these three organizations, that also will guarantee some authenticity. Okay. Now come to the article processing fee. This is a hot topic actually because you will be seeing some journals will be collecting money for their working and all. But you have to bear in mind, if a journal is asking money for the submission itself, better you not go for that because you have no guarantee whether they will accept or reject. Okay, most of the reputed journal will if they have article processing fees, they have kept, they will be clearly explained that procedure, clearly explained when you have to pay the money, everything in their website. So you have to check whether they are clearly stating that. And most of the reputed journal will ask for money only after accepting that. If that manuscript after review they are ready to accept or ready to publish, then only they will ask for the payment. So please have a keen check on that. There are a lot of free journals in the Scopus and PubMed. You have to do a search if you are short of money, and if you are doing a funded study and all, that publication cost will be covered by the institution um, or the funding agency. That will be part of that. It depends upon that. Okay. So that's regarding the AP article processing fees. Now comes the impact factor. Earlier in the journal, that selecting journal, the last one was to have a good impact factor. See, this is an area that actually this is not much detail is not needed by you, but still there are some misleading information given by some predatory journals or some fake journals. Actually, they will tell that they have a very high impact factor. Impact factor is the citation. Citation means, I know you know the citation. Citation means if I have written an article and you find some interesting findings in my study and you have to present it in your study, you will put it my portion, my study as a reference. So I will get one citation. If you refer, so how many, that number of citation is increasing, that means your article is read by many and they are seeing some importance in your articles. So citation improvement for a journal, citation number for a journal will show some quality of that journal. So impact factor has become a journal metric. There are some controversials also, but still it serves as a metric, journal metric. So what is an impact factor? It is a citation impact factor of a year means it is a citation received for that journal in that year for the articles published in past 2 years. Okay, no need to get confused. I have given an example of the Nature. Nature, it's a high profile journal and it has a high impact factor of 41.577. See, impact factor of 2017 means the citation received in 2017 for what? For the publication done in 2016 and 2015. That comes in the denominator. So that gives an impact factor of 41. Okay. So, and another important, who is giving this impact factor? That is a very important thing. Impact factor is a trade name, is a patented name given by Journal Citation Report. It's a published Journal Citation Reports by Clarivate Analytics. Earlier it was Thomson Reuters. Now it has been changed. Company has been changed to Clarivate Analytics. So if a journal is claiming that impact factor, you have to check where it comes from. It will be written as a JCR or Clarivate Analytics. You can check this website whether this journal has given impact factor by this the authority. So that will give. You can see different types of impact factor mentioned by the journals, like international impact factor, global impact factor, science impact factor. All are fake actually. The authentic one is just impact factor given by JCR or Clarivate Analytics. Okay, so you can check on that to check whether that journal is authentic. Next comes the site score. If this impact factor is given by Web of Science and site score is given by Scopus. Scopus, that is in Scopus how many citations received, and the site score will check past 3 years. Impact factor check past 2 years. Site score check past 3 years. So site score is also a matrix used by the Scopus. So scope, if a journal is indexed in Scopus, how many citations that received in the Scopus in that year for the journals published in the past 3 years. Okay. Now comes the SNIP, source normalized impact. This is also journal metrics. What is, I will clarify it, because see, if we compare Ayurveda and biomedical field, you know, biochemistry field, there are a lot of publications in the biochemistry. So naturally, their citations number will be high. It's a large field actually. Many researchers are working, so the citations will be high. So we cannot compare the citations for a biochemistry journal and an Ayurveda journal. So what SNIP is doing is that it check the each subjects. They will consider it will take into consideration subject wise citation. So that will give a weightage to, if a subject area is small number of citations is enough, small number of SNIP score is enough actually. Oh no, SNIP score is be considering that. Now comes the SGR. SGR means Skidmago journal ranking. That is a ranking system given to journals. This works in the principles that all citations are not equal, because this ranking system check from where the citation is coming. If a citation is coming from a reputed journal or reputed firm, you will get more score and your rank will be high. So it treat all every citation as a different scenario and check the source. That is only you have to understand. So these are the some journal metrics: impact factor, site score, SNIP, and SGR ranking as to you have to check. This will be written in the website itself for every authentic journals. Okay, now we are ready with the journal selections criteria and guidelines. Now we go to the types of scientific articles. There are several myths that we need a big lab to publish. We need to a big lab to conduct a study and publish a journal or publish a paper, or we need a large study to conduct to publish a journal. No, it's not that. There are different set of articles where you can publish. So these are I am introducing the types of scientific articles. So first category is primary research articles, that includes randomized control trial, clinical trial, before after study, cohort study, case control. Every trials comes under this. Diagnostic assessment, case reports, everything comes under the primary research. Secondary means narrative review articles, systematic review, meta-analysis. Review articles comes under secondary. Special articles, letters, correspondence, short communication. We'll be going detailing of each. Okay. So primary or original research article. That word itself clearly give an idea that it is the author himself receive the data directly from either through a study, clinical study, or a trial, or a case report. The author is directly collecting the data. That's it's a primary or original. The articles are descriptive or analytical nature. That means it's a retrospective, expecting past outcomes, or prospective. And it must follow a format called IMRAD format. This introduction, methodology, research, and discussion. It will have a uniform structure, and a structured abstract may precede the type article. We will go into detail of the IMRAD format. And a case report means a single study documenting unique features discovered during the research. It's a single case. You can publish a single case if you are treated a single case and you find a result, and you have used a treatment that is a bit different from conventional, you can report that. Okay. And technical note or technical innovation is an article describing surgical or medical techniques or procedure. That procedure, see, if you find a procedure, if you're doing a nasya, that is a different from a conventional method, and you can compare both methods and you can send a technical note. There are some journals accepting that, most of the journals accept the technical note. Or a new innovation in Panchakarma, you are developing an instrument, you can send it as a technical by comparing the benefits and advantages. You can write it, or you can analysis both difference between the conventional and your innovative type. So technical note also can be published. Okay. Then comes the secondary or review articles. This is an area you can easily work on and publish the articles. There are 14 types of review. I have selected only 3. There are 14 types: rapid review, umbrella review, critical review, book review. So many types of review are there. If you just type 14 types of review study, you will get that paper. You can easily refer. It's a full paper available in the site. You can refer the types of review. I have taken a few reviews that can be you must know what are the major type of review. These are the major type of review. First one is a narrative review. In narrative review, you can read in it is an authoritative and comprehensive analysis of a specific topic that is more descriptive in nature. That is important. More descriptive in nature than a systematic review. We'll come to systematic review. It does not introduce new data. That's why it's called secondary review articles. These doesn't give new data. It will analyzes the available data. That's why it's called secondary review articles. But often leads to formulation of a new hypothesis. A narrative review, exactly, you can compare it to it's a book chapter. What will be in the book chapter? There will be main heading will be there, and it will goes with the subheadings, and you can fill it in the subheading. You can see that that type discussed in the each subheadings. It's a components will be discussed in the each subheading. Narrative review is similar like this. We can see if you have to write a narrative review of Nasya. Nasya is a broad topic that I'm telling. It's a descriptive topic. You cannot go for a narrative review for a specific topic because you will not get subheadings. So if I am decided to do a narrative review on Nasya and its effects, I can get lots of subheadings. Nasya in each system I can go. Nervous system, Nasya is doing in circulatory system. Each system or each organ. What is the effects in the each or eye, ear, nose. I can put up each subheadings, and each subheadings what will be discussed. Each subheading you will be checking the available literature. You will be screening the studies. What are the findings of the studies? You will be you read through that and extract the findings and put it in your paper, and at the end of each content, each subheading, you will there will be no author verdict also. You have to comment on that. What you find, you can comment that only few journals are available in the high indexed scopus, or you can tell this may be due to this action, or this may be due to the thyla used. A verdict of author must be there in each headings. So it like this it goes, and last we will have a final discussion, conclusion discussion. We'll see what are the discussion part will come. Systematic review is entirely different. It is a systematic review actually stands above the randomized trials actually, because it will be doing a quality check on the journal articles published, quality and quantity. If it is a quantitative analysis, it will be meta-analysis. If a quality check, that means if a team of 3 researchers will team up and 2 will be reviewing the articles. That means there will be a research question. That means if I have to check the effect of exercise in aerobic endurance, how to do a systematic review on effect of the exercise on aerobic endurance, I will search for the keywords, and parallelly another person also in my team will be searching, and we have a search strategy will be there. We'll be using this much keywords, and we'll be searching in PubMed and Scopus only. We will be searching articles with a filter 5 years, in the 5 years, and with human participants only. No animal study will be taken. So there, like that, inclusion and exclusion criteria will be set, and we will extract articles according to that by separately. And a third person will evaluate these two, and he will be the tiebreaker, and he will tell this much article will be taken into review, and that articles will be assessed for its methodological quality, its design quality, everything will be critically analyzed. So if we read a systematic analysis, we can know how much work has been done in that field. So systematic review mainly aids a great lots of information to the scientific community. So they are rated high. Meta-analysis means if I have to conduct a meta-analysis on RCT related to rheumatic arthritis, I will be collecting all RCT conducted in rheumatic arthritis and collect the data and redo the statistics, and again some it put into the quality analysis. So it will be related to the quantitative analysis. It will be checking whether they have done the statistics correct, whether this is correct, if it is able to replicate if you put in a larger numbers. So if an article is published with 100 participants, another article is 50, it adds upon 150. So it goes with it's a large data. So meta-analysis is the highest level of evidence in the scientific world. So it's a bit difficult to do meta-analysis. You can by doing narrative review and other types of review, will be aiming to do systematic and meta-analysis. Next comes the scoping review. This has a crucial role in Ayurveda. You can do a scoping review. Scoping review is nothing but if sufficient researches are not done in an area, you can find out the gaps of the researches. You can point it out, and you can tell, see, this much I am on studies only done in this area. So there is a need of research. You can say, you can interpret the mechanism of action also. You can give concepts. All these can be done in a scoping review. So Ayurveda has a great potential in doing the scoping review. There are literature, videos, examples available for scoping review. Again, it's a large topic. We need another 1 to 2 days to entirely cover the scoping review. So you can read through this. You can read the preliminary assessment of potential size and scope of available. That is the measuring of scoping research. Scoping research will identify the gaps in the researches. That means it give a bird's view. That is done by the scoping review. Now come the special articles. There are some articles that categorized as special articles, letters and correspondence, short scientific communications, commentaries, pictorial essay. Letters means it's a short and can be written on any topic of interest to the journal reader. This area I will be dealing with the last in the introduction, but I told this is a potential area for a beginner. We'll be discussing it later. Okay. Short scientific communications means preliminary results or initial research findings that are not yet ready for the full presentation. You can publish it as a short scientific communications. Commentaries is the author's personal experience, can be published as a commentary. Pictorial essay, it's mainly for the teaching field. Actually, it includes the quality visuals to communicate current trend or message, that is educational nature. That some journals will publish pictorial essay also. Okay. Now comes the tertiary. Tertiary literature means nothing. The books are the textbooks, handbooks, manuals, encyclopedia, all serves as tertiary literature. Although it's a tertiary literature, it becomes a source for the primary literature search of the primary study also. So, okay, now I think not much explanation needed in this area. Now comes the grey literature. These are the documents issued by the research institutes, university, government agencies, international and local authorities. You will see so many newsletters or something. These all comes under the grey literature because conference proceedings, this comes under the grey literature because they are not clear-cut scientific papers. That's why the name grey literature. Okay. So these are the types of articles. So you can decide whether which type of articles you can prefer. Okay. Now comes to the prerequisites for writing a manuscript. You must follow the standard guidelines by planning the study. This we will be discussing later. What are the guidelines? You have to keep in mind guidelines is the base thing you have to check before starting a study. Okay, we will be discussing it later. Now, executed the study according to protocol. See, the thing of writing an article goes way behind on, and it has to be thought about when you're starting the study itself. That's why I told you have to think about which journal you have to publish before the starting the study, because that will ease your publication process. So you have to check whether you have executed the study according to the protocol. There no change must be done. If any change, you have to mention it. Got ethical clearance. This is a very important thing. If you have to publish in a reputed journal, they will ask for a registered ethical committee certificate number or ethical committee certificate. You have to upload that. So ethical clearance is a must. CTR, clinical trial registry, will come. This area is not at all taken seriously, and because of this, important findings are not going to the good paper. Now it has been mandatory to register in CTRI. I'll go to detail. Okay. Original case sheet. You must have original case sheet before you are writing manuscripts, duly signed consent forms, investigation reports, photographs, slides, and other supporting documents of the study before writing manuscript, and it has to be with you. Because earlier it was not asked for, now the journals will be asking if they are, you have to reproduce the original case sheets and all, because so many frauds are happening. Because of that, main journals will be, at any point they may ask. Okay. And have license and permission for reproducing figure. If you are using any other figure, other journal figure or others figure, you have to get the permissions or license consent. Otherwise, it is a type of plagiarism. We'll discussing what are the type of plagiarism and all. No conflict of interest, because if a study is funded by a pharmaceutical company and you have gotten negative results, that company will put a pressure on you not to publish. But that has to be clearly explained prior to the company, and you have to come to an agreement that even if the results are positive or negative, you'll publish it, because it is your duty to publish it. If you are received a fund, it is a public money you are receiving, you are bound to publish the journal. And another thing is, you have to declare, if you are receiving any fund, you have to declare that in the conflict, we are receiving the funds from this and this company, because that is a part of research ethics, and reader will be get an idea who is funding this study. Okay, and selected the right journal. These are the prerequisites for writing a manuscript. Okay, now this is the PDF format. You can easily, ICMR has released it, National Ethical Guidelines. If you are doing a study involving a human participant, you definitely have to read this document, and you have to accordingly, you have to plan your study and submit to the ethical committee and get ethical clearance, because ethical committee will be looking into this even after you submitted journal to a scholarly publications in your scholar journal. They will be sending to reviewer, and reviewer will be looking into the ethical issues. If an ethical issue is there, instant rejection is the result. So you have to follow the ethical guidelines. Okay, so this is a public document, you can access in the website. You can get ethical guidelines by ICMR, you'll get definitely a PDF format. Okay, this is an important information I have to pass. If you are doing a clinical trial, before the enrollment of first participant, you have to register that trial. That is called in the Clinical Trial Registry of India. Earlier I have told about an organization, International Committee for Medical Journal Editors. That committee is a committee, that is the authoritative committee in the field of publication, and they'll put on recommendations only, but every journal, quality journal, are following their recommendation, and they have recommended that every country must set up a registry to record their studies. Because what happened, if a study is taken up and find that negative result, that study will not get published, and no one will know that that study is conducted without publication. In order to avoid that, why a negative result to be published? Because it has to be published, because it must if you find a study with a negative results, it has to be published. There are journals that publishing negative results only.